Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of my Trumpology report for today, January 11th, 2017. I had to think for a minute. As you know, the Trumpology report is dedicated to sharing information, astrological information, that relates to all things Trump. And there is one area that I would love to cover. I thought it would be tons of fun tonight, since I have compared Trump's chart to Putin and to Assange. I thought it might be fun to compare Trump's chart to the chart of Alec Baldwin, who so brilliantly portrays him every single week on Saturday Night Live. Unfortunately, there is no birth time available for Alec Baldwin. I rarely do solar charts, but in this case, I have to make an exception because everybody is tuned to Saturday Night Live every week to see Alec Baldwin interpret Trump, impersonate Trump with his brilliant humor. So, just for fun, let's take a look at what Alec Baldwin triggers in Trump's chart. Now, without an exact birth time for Alec, we don't know where the moon is. We don't know the exact placement of the moon. We do not know the exact house placements of all the planets, so we don't have an ascendant or a midheaven. But we've got those planets. So let's take a look at what Alec Baldwin, brilliant comedian, triggers in Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's start right here at the ascendant, shall we? Pluto, Alec Baldwin's Pluto, sits right smack dab on Trump's ascendant and Mars. And so there is a control factor from Alec Baldwin to Trump. Baldwin controls Trump on some level. Very, very interesting. Now, while we're around this first house, let's look over here. Alec Baldwin's Uranus, the planet of rebellion and busting loose, sits on Trump's Pluto, and that's Trump busting loose, letting it rip, because Pluto is all or nothing, probably as a result of Alec Baldwin's performance every single week. Okay. Alec Baldwin's moon, and again, we don't know the exact placement of it. We know it goes from late Virgo into probably late Libra. It sits in Trump's second house on some level, influencing his money and his values. Alec Baldwin's Jupiter, Neptune, and North Node all sit in Trump's third house. Third house is the house of communication. We all know that Trump tweets all the time. He shares his ideas. And so, interestingly enough, Jupiter expands that. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So it brings more communication. His North Node sits in Trump's third house, so that actually the communication he triggers is of a very positive nature. Now, I don't mean literally what he says, but it can be very helpful to Trump. And his Neptune in Trump's third house fires up ideas in Trump. Now, Saturn, reality, responsibility, meaning responde or ability. Alec Baldwin's Saturn, on some level, well, it sits on Trump's moon, and it squelches the moon. Saturn can be a damper to whatever it touches. It can strengthen it as well, but it sits also on Trump's South Node, and that's the area of a drain or loss. And so this deals not just with real estate, but with emotional security. Now, can Alec Baldwin's Saturn strengthen Trump's emotional security? He could. Depends on how Trump takes it, right? Alec Baldwin's Mars and Venus both sit in Trump's sixth house, getting him busy, helping him work, helping him serve. So this fires him up and triggers Venus's love and helps Trump literally at work. Helps his health as well, although that Mars there can aggravate the health. So you've got the love and the hate, the anger and the joy, both triggered. You've got both sides of the coin that Alec Baldwin triggers in Trump's 6th house of work, health, and service. Alec's sun is in Trump's 8th house. The 8th house is the house of secrets, the house of transformation. And Alec Baldwin sheds a light, the sun, a light on that, doesn't he? It also can help Trump, if Trump were so inclined, help other people. In other words, it can trigger an altruism in him. I don't know that he chooses to do it that way, though. And Alec Baldwin's Mercury and South Node are sitting in Trump's 9th house. That's the higher mind, the big picture. It opens him up to seeing the big picture, but Mercury does, but the South Node can drain him. It can take away from that. And then I think I've covered all of the planets. Okay, I wish I had his exact birth time. It would be awesome to do a complete chart on Alec Baldwin and then compare it. But you work with what you got, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. Now, what Trump triggers in Alec Baldwin, I'm doing what's called a solar chart. You can either do it for noon or for 6 a.m. I'm doing it for 6 a.m. And whenever you do a 6 a.m. chart, the sun is in the 1st house, meaning it's an egocentric world that we live in. Surprise! So I put the planets around the chart in order. Once again, the moon is either in Alec Baldwin's 6th or 7th house. Even in a solar chart, we don't know because we don't have any kind of birth time for him. So let's look at what Trump triggers in Alec Baldwin. Okay, it's a solar chart, remember. It's accurate, but we really need the birth chart to get the big picture, the complete picture. So Trump's Uranus, North Node, and Sun are in Alec Baldwin's 3rd house. Very interesting because Baldwin's 3rd house is triggered. Trump's 3rd house is triggered by Baldwin. Baldwin's 3rd house is triggered by Trump. But look at here. Uranus, Trump's Uranus in Baldwin's 3rd house triggers a wicked sense of humor, sarcasm, the unexpected, which is what Trump is, and he gives that to his influence to Alec Baldwin in the area of communication. Trump's North Node encourages that, helps it, and the sun brings it to life. So, by virtue of just blinking and breathing, Trump gives Alec Baldwin material, is what it boils down to. Now, Trump's Mercury, Saturn, and Venus are in Baldwin's 4th house of home, family, real estate in the solar chart. Helps Baldwin think in terms of his home and family, real estate possibly. Makes him look at things more seriously in those areas because he is protective of his family and helps him love his family. Isn't this interesting to see? Now, let's move along to the areas where Trump actually sits on Trump's planets sit on Alec Baldwin's planets. Trump's Pluto, the planet of control, sits on Alec Baldwin's Uranus. Uranus is wild and crazy. It's in the 5th house in the solar chart, and we know that Alec Baldwin is hysterically funny. He is extemporaneously funny as well. Pluto says, whoops, I'm controlling it. Or at least he's trying to. Or he's trying to transform it. But what he's doing is trying to squelch it. I don't think he can do that with Alec Baldwin. And Trump's Mars and Ascendant both sit on Alec Baldwin's Pluto, which is right there on that 6th cusp of work. There it is, yes. And so Mars fires up everything it touches. And so Baldwin wants to be in control of his job, of his art, of his performance, of his work. And Trump, with his Mars and ascendant, increases that, fires it up even more. So I don't see Alec Baldwin changing his routine anytime soon. Now, Trump's Neptune and Jupiter. Neptune, the dream. Jupiter, expansion, is in his Baldwin's 7th house of partnership and the public. And so what Trump does is help his outreach with the public, inspires, actually with Neptune there, inspires Baldwin and allows him to project an image that everybody sees differently. Neptune does that. Neptune in the 7th, everybody sees you differently, and Jupiter expands that. So actually it increases Alec Baldwin's popularity. I know Trump didn't want to do that, but it does. And Trump's South Node and the Moon sit on Alec Baldwin's Saturn in the 9th house. Saturn in Sag. It's a beautiful placement for Saturn. And so Saturn in Sag wants to make tangible his outreach on a large scale. This is higher mind, larger distance communication. And Trump's South Node tries to squelch that a little bit. And the Moon there as well wants to bring about a change, and possibly can. However, Trump's vertex, the karmic role in life, sits in Alec Baldwin's 10th house. Wherever that vertex falls, that is your role with other people. It's the role over which you have no control. And so what Donald Trump does for Alec Baldwin is he brings Alec Baldwin's public image to light. He enhances it. So I thought that was very interesting. And I'm hoping someday to get, as I said, Alec Baldwin's birth time so that I can do a real sure enough chart on him. And if you would like a real sure enough chart on yourself, just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com, and stay tuned, because I'm going to be sharing lots of information on our incoming president. So until we meet again, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours.